Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday, and with me, as always, it's my co-host, Nick Mason.
Isn't this exciting? It's a big week.
It is it's a huge week.
It's a huge week.
It's been 5 years since the last Joker movie, and finally we're getting another Joker movie.
It's been 5 years since we all got turned into the Joker by society in combination with that movie.
Yeah.
And do you think society will be turned into the Joker again?
For a second time?
For a second time?
I don't know.
Maybe.
According to the box office numbers, no.
No.
Some, like a sliver of people might be turned into the Joker.
Isn't that interesting? And we'll have to get to that. We'll have to get to that into the review. That it isn't a huge opening.
Yeah.
Then, because opinions divided on this movie.
People hate it.
You might say. Most people hate it. You'd think that it would be a huge opening and then a drop-off. But it's just not. It's just not at all. So that's interesting.
I've got a whole lot of theories and hard evidence.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just theories.
Okay.
Crunching numbers.
Things are whipping around in your mind palace.
Absolutely.
Some of them are hallucinations.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Yeah, right.
You ever seen the TV show Sherlock?
Yeah.
It's exactly like that.
Wow.
You know, he thinks about Elvis and then he sweeps it away.
Yeah, sure.
And then it's a Mozart or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just the Joker.
Sure.
Box office reports.
You're sweeping through all the Jokers. You're sweeping
all the data.
Cesar Romero. You're sweeping through. There's Jackie Nicholson.
There he is.
There he is.
So big week this week, Mason. We're going to be...
Listeners, I hope you've got your big, saggy white underpants on.
Oh, it was good to see them again, wasn't it?
Right?
I didn't think we would, but up top.
Yeah, that's right. And on the bottom.
That's right.
His bottom. His skinny bottom.
We're going to be talking about the passing of Kris Kristofferson. We're going to be talking about maybe how they wanted to put Robert Pattinson's Batman into the DCU, potentially.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
A new DC animated project announced called The Dynamic Duo.
That's right.
Voltron movie update.
Is this live action?
Yes.
Oh.
Rugrats live action CGI hybrid update.
Is that live action?
So, hybrid Mason.
Interesting.
A trailer for Better Man,
Yes.
the Robbie Williams biopic.
That's right.
Got some Spider-Man stuff, including some rumors about what the next movie is going to be called. And we've got a very interesting article from Variety on toxic fandom and how they're trying to combat that by bringing them all in and
Sucking up to them and
giving them big hugs.
Yeah, that's
so I
right.
think it's going to be really
and
good.
saying you're right, actually.
Yeah, you're right and good, and tell us what you think.
That's right. And it's worked so well so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good. And then, of course, we're going to be getting into Joker 2 Folie Adieu.
What's next week? What are we doing next week?
Well, I thought because we missed Transformers 1, I thought we could do that, and Hellboy's out on streaming, so maybe we'll do those two together.
Right. Great.
What do you think, Mason?
Sounds good.
Great.
Yeah, good.
Also, we did a couple of things that are available if people want them. Is that true?
That is so true.
So we were part of the Cheerful Earful Podcast Festival.
That's right. We recorded in Stupid Old Studios in Brunswick.
That's right.
We were the guests of Will Anderson, his podcast Willosophy. He gets into the nitty gritty of people's philosophy.
Yeah.
And if
Willosophy.
their Willosophy,
Thank you.
and if two guests don't have any kind of meaningful Willosophy, whatever, we just spin our wheels for a bit, I guess, for like an hour and a half.
That's why he put us together.
That's right.
Like these men individually don't have enough.
That's right.
Willosophy.
They just wake up and do some stuff and then they go to bed. They've never really thought about it. Separately,
absolutely. Yeah. So there's that one.
Yeah.
We also did, I did a
Get in quick, by the way, for that one.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So I also did a live confessions with Sammy Peterson, which is a great show, which I've done before. And you say get in quick because these are disappearing.
Yeah, so the live stream, you could purchase tickets for the event live to show up in person. But if you couldn't make it for that, anywhere in the world, you could purchase a sort of a live stream pass to watch and listen to the podcast. But that only lasts 48 hours from when the podcast was first streamed.
So by the time Saturday night.
So by the time you listen to this, it might be gone. But I would recommend go to the website, email in, and be like, "Bring it back,
get angry,
bring it back, bring it back. What were you thinking? Bring it back." Bring it back.
They might bring it back.
They might bring it back.
We actually don't know. We don't have any control of that.
No, that's true.
Yet.
Yeah.
Also, Auntie Donna, we did something with Auntie Donna.
That's right.
A while back.
The Auntie Donna Patreon.
Yes.
Had us as a couple of guests. You might have seen some clips of that on Instagram or on the socials.
Yep.
And this came about because Auntie Donna, the fine fellas at Auntie Donna were like, "Hey, do you want to do something for our Patreon?"
And we went, "Ah." Yeah. And we did.
Yeah.
I couldn't be there in person because I thought my parents had given me COVID.
Right. This was recorded ages ago.
Yeah. This is before I went to the UK. But it was a lot of fun. We basically created an Auntie Donna cinematic universe.
Well, we tried.
Yes. Well, we're going to come back.
We did it for like an hour and a bit, and we barely scratched the surface.
Well, there's a lot going on, though.
There was a lot going on.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we will be back, though. But if you and I imagine there's a whole bunch of stuff on the Auntie Donna Patreon, but I think you'll be
pleasantly surprised. All of that is linked below, as are the time codes for this episode. If you want to skip to anything, Rob Collins, who edits this, he did it.
He did it.
Kris Kristofferson, he passed away at age 88, peacefully at his home, which is good, the peacefully part. I didn't know he was 88.
I
thought he was 60. Right? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, he's accomplished a number of things. People might know him from A Star is Born from 1976.
That's right.
The movie Heaven's Gate. The Blade trilogy where he was Whistler.
He was Whistler.
Awesome. He was also a helicopter pilot in the US Army. He was a Rhodes Oxford scholar. He was a boxer. He was a musician.
That's true.
He was a man of many talents and hats. He also supported Sinead O'Connor when she protested the abuses committed and covered up by the Catholic Church. He was one of the few people who actually stood by her side.
Because she was there and she performed and she got people were booing.
Yeah.
On a number of times. And he was there at one of the events and he was like, "Don't let the bastards get you down."
You're great, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn. Anyway, just looking through his life, what a legendary performance. As a man.
Super cool dude.
Yeah.
He was not only, he was a performer, but he wrote songs for other people. I don't have the specific song here, but there is a story legendarily that he stole a helicopter to go to Johnny Cash's house to play a song for him. So Johnny Cash would record it and it became a big hit. I can't remember which song it is.
And Johnny Cash said, "No, that's rude.
Yeah, that's rude and
I'm
illegal.
a man of the law.
I'm calling the cops. I'll see you in Folsom Prison, where you'll be a prisoner."
Yeah, but if you listen to this show, I'd imagine Whistler's the thing that you would probably most know him for, which is the thing I first saw him in.
Yeah.
So Whistler is Blade's like Alfred, essentially, except he's much meaner and a killer.
That's correct, yes.
Well, yes, Alfred's a killer
He
as well,
is a killer.
isn't he? Yeah. So, yeah, wonderful life. Again, didn't know he was 88. Great innings.
Agreed.
And, what a way to go, peacefully in your home after an incredible career and personal life. So kudos and hats off.
That's right.
Mason, let's get into this.
Bless you, Kris Kristofferson.
That's right.
We figured.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think you did anything wrong.
Yeah. Jeff Snyder reported this, Mason, that David Zaslav, who of course is the normal man who runs Warner Brothers Discovery,
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
into the ground. He wanted the DCU's. He wanted to get the DCU Batman going as soon as possible to make it more in line with the MCU. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've had enough of this bloody milling about.
I'm sure he didn't see it in that sense. I'm sure he didn't see like two universes colliding. He just saw two figures.
Yeah, and he went capes.
Yeah.
Capes.
He just saw two big numbers on a spreadsheet or in a manila folder, and he's like, "Can't we just
capes?
Just put them together?
It's
fine, whatever, they're the same
together.
Yeah.
They are the same. He's right. But apparently, this suggestion was shot down of course, because apparently, and this could change, the James Gunn and Peter Safran, who run the DCU, they have complete creative control.
Interesting.
It would seem
for now.
I think after Superman, we'll see what happens there, depending on box office numbers or critical and audience response.
Yeah. But as long as it does better than Joker 2.
Yeah. Well, seemingly not very difficult. I talked to ages ago about how I thought this was something they were just going to attempt because they've got a Batman and they may as well. Yeah, but I don't think they mesh.
Yeah, not really.
Seeing from what we've seen of Superman, at least.
Yeah, I think potentially they could give. I don't know. I think what you'd have to do is move the Batman timeline a little bit forward and say, okay, the Batman 2 is taking place a couple of years into his career, but the Batman Superman team up is taking place 10 years later, and we give him he's not as emo anymore. Yeah. You make it clear it's the future. Yep. You give him the gold bat symbol. There's
a lot of neon.
Exactly. The suit is cleaner, and he's well into it kind of thing. The Batmobile's high tech now, and you make it very clear. Okay, he's not the new guy anymore. I think that would work.
And there's no supernatural elements to the Batman, and apparently they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So you'd have to change all that of it.
That's true.
Yeah. So I just think it's better to probably not do this.
Do it as a multiverse.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Right?
I love that. It'd be like if the Dark Knight met Brandon Routh's Superman. It's like, it's not the same. They're not the same.
No, you're right. They don't have the same mouthfeel.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's something that you would consider anyway, even though this guy is a lunatic and you don't like him. Of course you'd consider it.
It saves you having to cast a new Batman. And
yes.
weather all the backlash, and he's not as good as this one, and he's not as good as that one.
Yeah,
he's not as good as Adam West.
I think he needs to be bigger also because David Corenswet's like 6'6" or something like that, and Pattinson's maybe 6'1". I don't know. Like I think you need a much bigger person to be Batman.
Absolute Batman.
Absolute
style.
Batman, big as a bus Batman.
Who do you get then?
Big as a bus Batman. Oh wait, he's
Reacher?
not realistic. Well, Reacher wants to do it.
Reacher said he'd do it, didn't he?
I don't hate that idea.
Yeah.
Seems too obvious.
And once Reacher's got that in his mind, he's going to.
Yeah.
He's going to. If he wants to barrel his way to the Warner Brothers offices, who's going to stop him?
Exactly.
You know, you put up all the Get Smart style doors. He's going to plow his way through them.
I mean,
he's Reacher.
He wasn't always that big, so you could just get a man and make him that big.
It's
you know,
true,
it's
you
like
could,
David
yeah.
Corenswet wasn't always as big as he ended up being.
That's true.
On that, which is good and fun.
Yeah.
Mason, dynamic duo. That's
right.
us. But other than that, do you know that apparently they're making a new DC animated movie? It's called
Yes.
Dynamic Duo.
Yes, I did know
Let me talk
that.
you through this because it's gonna. Let me talk you through.
Okay,
this.
talk me
You
through
look flummoxed.
I am a little bit.
I don't like that for you. It's actually very unbecoming.
I can't help it. I've just seen Joker 2, Folie, Deux.
Yeah. It follows the early days of Dick Grayson.
That's a dynamic juice, if ever there was one. Little preview. My opinions. It's all right.
It
It's all
follows
right.
the early days of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, aka the Robins. So James Gunn said this: "Over the moon, excited to announce the newest DC Studios / Warner Brothers Pictures animation greenlit film for theaters. Dynamic duo, the story of Robin, or should I say Robins, as in Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. The first feature film from the visionary Swaybox. So it's going to be a mix of animation, puppetry, and CGI. A script from the wonderfully talented Matt Aldrich, produced with our partners at Matt Reeves' Sixth and Idaho. This is something special." So apparently Swaybox is a production company, and it's a project that was started by husband and wife creators Arthur Mintz and Teresa Anderson.
Okay, they do have a sort of a sample reel out there. It's on
Okay, I haven't
YouTube if you
seen
want
that.
to check that out. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, what does this look like, this blend of stuff?
Pretty cool, I thought.
Pretty cool, you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, while you look that up,
Yeah.
I will say, you know, this is a little bit, it's deviating a little bit from continuity, of course, because these two particular Robins, prior to being Robins, had never met. So in the plot of this is they're orphaned sort of
This is interesting.
youth criminals in Gotham City.
Yeah.
So in the original comic, they were both circus acrobats, but then in the
true.
the second continuity, Jason Todd was an orphan street tough who was stealing the wheels off the Batmobile, and that's how he became the second Robin.
Yep.
So at that point, the original Robin had already moved on. So this is a little break in
He
continuity.
had a
but
mullet and a disco collar.
you better believe he did.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be an interesting idea. Why not? You know.
Let's get some cool animated stuff, you know? I like also that they're branching out in terms of what animation means and looks like now.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw two animated...
Spider-Verse.
I mean, I saw two animated movies last week. I saw Transformers 1 and... I saw three movies, Mason. Transformers 1 and The Wild Robot and Joker 2. Mm-hmm. And those, like, they just look different. It's not all that kind of DreamWorks kind of fucking shit, which is fine. Like, that it has its place.
I mean, how you described it is...
Yeah, I don't like it, all right?
Isn't fine.
I'm sick of it. It's been 20 fucking years of it. It's good to, like, move on in any direction.
Give us a second face, will
Just
you?
a different face, for God's sake, Wreck-It Ralph, you bitch. That's a good movie. I haven't seen the second one. But I like this. I like that they're also, it's not just committing to one universe. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's do a bunch of stuff. And it's not like pushed into like, you know, like direct to streaming or whatever, which is also fine if they did that. But like they're putting a lot of effort and getting a lot of different people working on like different kind of projects.
For now,
until it all becomes one universe.
Depends how Superman does.
Yeah. I hope it's good for their sake. Otherwise, they'll kill you. James Gunn, they'll kill you.
They'll kill you.
That's why THR. So this is a name you wouldn't have heard, but Daniel Quinn Toye has been cast to play the lead male role in the live-action Voltron movie, which is happening.
I haven't heard that.
The other leads have not been cast. He's done some like bit parts in things. He was like Tom Holland's stand-in on a stage show or something. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
Something I can't remember.
Sounds like he can do a flip.
Yeah, he can definitely do a flip.
So you probably know you got to flip into those Voltrons.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm assuming
those vehicle Voltrons. That's right. That's the twist. It's vehicle Voltron. The one no one likes.
Why would it be vehicle Voltron? Why would they start with vehicle Voltron?
There's more guys, but nobody likes it.
There's 18 guys. There's too many guys in vehicle Voltron. Right. God damn it.
It's like a road crew and there's just a bunch of guys just standing around as well. There's even more guys than you'd think.
Are they taking... Yeah, they're taking Voltron off Netflix, aren't they?
Yeah, so apparently it was made...
Paramount or something
It was
like that?
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks,
It was DreamWorks for Netflix.
Then why does it look good?
But the contract to publish it through Netflix has expired, I think. So they're taking it off Netflix,
Yeah.
and it might end up somewhere else. Or it might end up, you can get it on Google and YouTube and et cetera, and you can buy it.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's also a bunch of people who worked on The Last Airbender. It's got a great arc. It wraps up beautifully. I like it a lot.
Do you ever see Vehicle Voltron?
Yeah, you kind of do at the end, actually.
Yes.
It's a little bit of a teaser. Filming apparently is going to start this fall in Australia, which is spring.
But fall is autumn.
Yeah, but for us, it's spring.
Yes.
So if it's starting in fall, I presume they mean spring, unless they mean next Australian fall, which would be Northern Hemisphere spring.
Maybe.
God.
Can we get some clarification on that?
Can't we just get all the seasons in line? Don't you think it's confusing when you do a show like this and then you get stuck doing I have to explain?
You know what they could have done?
Yeah.
They could have said an actual date.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. No, they didn't do that.
They should have said Australian March,
Yes.
which is American July.
4th of July.
That's
God
right.
bless you. Rawson Marshall Thurber is the director. You know him?
I've heard the name.
Oh, you've heard
Certainly
the name.
memorable, isn't
You've
it?
heard the name. Because he, of course, directed 2021's, I didn't need to tell you this because you're watching it, Red Notice.
Oh, no. No.
Don't worry, because he also did Skyscraper.
No.
He also did Central Intelligence.
These are all bad.
Hang on.
I mean, I couldn't be bothered watching Central Intelligence.
It's bad. He also did
It's
Where...
got a Reacher vibe to him.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
He did Where the Millers.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
But he also did Dodgeball.
Damn, this dude's ripped.
Damn,
Look
that
at
guy's
this.
ripped as hell. What's going on?
He's threatening people so he can do their movies.
We like his movies now, don't we?
We do, because he's ripped. And we respect him now. We respect the hustle.
So I think he has done some good things, but
Getting ripped, for
but
example.
also Central Intelligence, Skyscraper, and Red Notice, they're all Dwayne the Rock Johnson vehicles.
Sure
So
are.
what does that even mean? Nothing. How much did he? That's the Rock of driving that whole production to make a generic, bland, boring movie for nobody.
All right. To be fair, it's also Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
And
Kevin Hart. I'm
Kevin
wondering.
Hart. Yeah.
You're right.
Working to make
Neve
a plan.
Campbell, Skyscraper.
Oh, yeah.
It's his wife, maybe.
I think so.
Good movie. Remember when he made that big jump?
Yep.
God, I hated that movie. Stupid idiot movie for idiots. Die Hard in a building. Yeah, we did it already. It's called Die Hard in a building.
It's called Speed 2.
The plot details for Voltron remain under wraps, but I presume it's Voltron. The origin
Yeah,
of Voltron.
I presume
they
it's-
find the lines and they make Voltron.
Wow, the universe is in strife. I hope there are some robots.
There better not be a Zarkon. Oh, here he is.
Here he is.
Here he bloody is. Here we go.
They'll let anybody in here, won't they?
Oh, God. And an Australian fall of all times of year,
That's right.
which is American June. I don't know.
It is.
I love Voltron. I don't think this will be good. I would love to be surprised.
Me too.
But again, the Netflix one's incredible if you want to watch some really good Voltron. But you never know.
Yeah.
And he's ripped.
And the toys are good too. The
toys are
hold
good.
one and go.
Let's form Voltron. It's King
I got a big
Zarkon.
sword.
Yeah, big sword. You like Rugrats?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not against them. I just don't think I ever watched
not
it.
against them. You're not actively and campaigning against them.
No, should I?
I don't know. Do you want to?
Seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So they're not
I
getting...
don't really have a hook to that.
No, they don't have a lot
Bring
of...
down with the Rugrats. Let's get them.
Yeah, let's get them.
Yeah.
So they're going to be making a CGI / live action hybrid movie.
Okay.
There's been-
in the style of Garfield.
I hope not. So this is going...
Human parents, horrible CGI
That's
children.
what I'm thinking it's going to
Yeah.
be, right? Mm-hmm. So this is...
All the entire family's like horrible CGI lumpy people, and
But
they
you'd think
interact
you
with the real world,
need-
and they're all human.
But yeah, maybe. Yeah, you'd think you'd need some real people because if it's a live action hybrid, just most of the people... The babies would be CGI, right? And probably the dog Spike.
Sure, okay, yeah.
They recently rebooted Rugrats in a completely toothless, but don't mind the pun, Mason. Don't mind it. It's like a CGI thing. It's whatever.
Okay.
My kids were watching like the original Rugrats, and every now and then they'll be watching a newer episode other than news. I'm like, this sucks. So put the other one on. And they're like, they don't know. They're like, they're both the same to us. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Mason hates Rugrats.
God, your children's taste is so pedestrian.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so I mean, what are they going to have? So here's a couple of options how they do it.
Yep.
It's like an Addams Family situation where they're all horrible mutants, like in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the neighborhood's normal.
But they're kind of supposed to be a regular suburban family.
Yeah, or what about, you could also do every adult in this universe is normal. Every child is a Rugrat style mutant and eventually become a regular human.
Yeah.
Or all the adults and all the children in the rest of the universe are normal. The parents of this are normal and their children are Rugrats.
Okay, gotcha. Awful Rugrats.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the other option of it's partially live action and partially CG?
I mean, I guess they film real environments and everything's fake. Every person or animal is fake. I don't know.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? Why would you do this at all?
I don't know.
It's directed by Jason Moore. He directed Shotgun Wedding and the movie Sisters. I don't know if you saw that. It was
it
Tina Fey and
Amy Poehler?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So it might be something.
All right.
Is this something, Mason?
I don't know
There's
yet.
a ship on the horizon. Oh my God. Trailers ahoy, everybody.
Trailer's coming in hot.
Just the one this week we're going to be talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like this would have got the traction that it has if it didn't have a monkey in the lead.
Well, yes. So this is Better Man.
Yep.
So this is a biopic of the pop singer-songwriter,
Sensation.
English pop star
Early
Robbie
to
Williams.
mid-2000s.
Yeah, he was formerly in the pop group Take That, I think. He's in that boy band.
But he broke free.
He broke free, and then he was a big star. And people out there are probably, if you're in Australia or if you're in the UK or a lot of Europe, you would know who Robbie Williams is. But a lot of American listeners would be like, I have no idea.
He did try for years to kind of...
Yeah. But like he's he can sell out stadiums in Australia and the UK and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
But I mean, this is the mechanism here, obviously. It's the story of his life.
Yeah.
But in the movie, he's played by a CGI monkey.
Yes.
Initially, I saw the trailer for this and I'm like, oh, this is going to be revealed to be an ad for chips or something. You know, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I've since heard about people who have seen this for real.
Yeah.
Some people even...
He's a chimp the whole way, just to clarify.
Yeah.
It's not like at the end he's like, and now I'm a man.
Yeah, no. Apparently, there were test screenings for this, and they were told it's an R-rated or an adult.
Yeah.
It's a musical for adults, and they had to put a note on it that was like, it's not Joker 2. Just to be clear, if you're expecting Joker, they told people in the line, if you're expecting Joker 2, it's not that. It's a different thing.
But
I mean, this.
And what do they say of it? Did they like it?
I think it's, from what I can gather, it's a pretty generic music biopic. I mean,
But it has a monkey
you can
in it.
tell from the trailer. And I think this is kind of a canny way to go about that. One, to garner attention from people who have no interest in Robbie Williams. And two, to entice people to watch another music biopic. Because despite the fact that Walk Hard came out, everybody
and
still
did them all.
Everybody still makes the music biopics exactly like this every single time. They're flying high, and people tell them they'd never make it, and then they get a little bit of success, and then they become very successful.
They do too many drugs.
Then they're flying high, and then they do too many drugs, and they fall down a little bit, and then they pick themselves up, and then they're a bigger star than they ever were before.
That is often the story, though, that happens to people in real life.
That is true.
I like the ones, and I can't even think of an example, where they'll pick like a specific time and like do that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, well, this is a
Well,
really
that's a hard day's
interesting year.
night. That's, you know.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, then. Great.
I've never had a hard day's night in my life. Mason.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind Robbie Williams. It seems like a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had a story about Robbie Williams.
Some people I know who, work in FM radio and et cetera have met him and be like, he's a pretty cool guy. I don't know.
That's right. A few years ago, I was at a New Year's party and a guy was there because they filmed this in Australia, I believe.
They did, yeah.
So he was working on the sets for this and I wasn't able to, at a cool industry party, Mason. I've never been to one in my life. And you know that better than anybody.
That's right.
But
You're afraid of them.
And I'm a big loser. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So
don't have to tell me twice.
he's like, yeah, we're making this movie or whatever, and it's spectacular, and like I think people are really gonna love it, and but what I'm like thinking back to that conversation, I'm like, I can't believe he didn't tell me he's a fucking CGI monkey.
Right.
It's like, and he would have known, like he would have had to have known, right?
Yeah. Because Robbie Williams would have come out in the dot suit.
Yeah, is it starring?
know.
Because I don't think it is.
No, I don't even know.
Yeah, let me check that actually.
Please.
Anyway, we would not have been talking about this if it wasn't.
That's how they get us.
John O'Davies is playing him.
Okay.
We've got a bunch of Australians in this. There we go.
Well, that's handy for Robbie Williams.
I agree.
Since he doesn't have to do anything.
Goddamn, Robbie Williams thinks he's better than us. Thinks he can perform at the AFL Grand Final, Mason,
That's
in
right.
2023.
Yeah.
Better than we could.
Yeah.
Let's look at this, Mason. Spider-Man stuff.
It's Spider-Man stuff time.
Yep. Andrew Garfield said he'd return to Spider-Man given the right circumstances, but there was a rumor this week. I think it was My Time to Shine. Hello, maybe something.
Oh, yeah.
That said he's probably going to be back for 2,
Okay.
which would mean Secret Wars, Doomsday, or whatever. It would be those two, right?
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also-
He's definitely coming back, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he's a liar.
What do you mean? All that up.
Told us he wasn't going to be Spider-Man
That's true. He
again.
did. I was speaking about people who are definitely lying. Joel Kinnaman this week was asked if he's going to be in Peacemaker season 2, and he's like, "What? I would never be in that."
I hate.
So he's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you've been in 2 of these terrible movies already. No one was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One was good, and I think this
He's funny as well. You see him in an interview?
Yeah, he's funny
He's doing a
because
Jake.
he's from Denmark or whatever.
Yeah, they're funny, maybe.
Yeah, they're funny over
They're
there.
funny people.
They're funny over there.
Funny and tall.
Funny and tall and pale.
Sun comes out at a weird time. I don't know what
Yeah,
they're
that's
doing.
right, yeah.
What are they doing?
Probably doing like improv games or whatever. You know, because the sun's gone down for 30
Probably playing
days or whatever.
Finska.
Yeah, probably playing Finska
Yeah, man.
and eating tinned herring.
They would love that.
They love that over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes you funny.
That makes you funny. Changes your DNA.
Yeah, that's right. But he said he was never in it, which I think is sort of leading towards perhaps the idea in this season of Peacemaker that the universe has been, you know, it's been bumped into the DCU, and maybe Peacemaker's the only guy who notices.
Yeah, I mean,
that
because
would be-
Peacemaker season 2 is set in the DCU, but season 1 is set in the DCEU.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So yeah,
I think
and they're going to reference that.
I think it's leaning very heavily towards at least one person in the series is aware that the universe has shifted, and
Yeah.
it would be Peacemaker because he's the insane conspiracy theorist that believes everything. But
Yeah.
this time he's right.
Yeah, but he can't prove it.
Can't prove it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also got a first look at Nicolas Cage in the Spider-Man Noir TV streaming series.
That's true.
If you like seeing a man in a suit and it's Nicolas Cage, boy, these are some images for you.
That's right.
Do you think this is going to be the animated version or a different thing?
I think it's going to be a different thing.
Yeah, because he is Spider-Man Noir, as we know.
Correct. Yes.
Let me check this, actually. Is he playing Peter Parker?
No, he's playing.
He's playing like Ben... Is it Ben Parker or Ben Riley?
Might be
or
Ben
something?
Riley in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is this? Did we establish at some point in the past that he used to be a Spider-Man and now he's not?
Yeah,
Something
I think
like
we
that?
talked about that, didn't we?
Which is very convenient. But I think that's probably he's going to still have his spider powers,
Yes.
but he just never puts the costume on,
Yeah.
which is fine. Which is
No,
fine.
it's not. That's bad.
No, it's fine.
Put the mask on, dumbass.
Maybe you put the mask on. He'll put the mask on in the last episode.
I'm putting the mask on. Is it the last episode? Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Put the mask on.
And this is why Cryptic HD Quality
Go on.
says, take this with a grain of salt.
I will.
Get ready for this, Mason. I've heard that the next Spider-Man movie might be titled Spider-Man King in Black.
Oh no! That means it's potentially a crossover with Venom: The Last Dance, or a
Oh
continuation
no,
of that.
it's a crossover with the Venom
Yeah.
franchise.
Right?
Why do you say that, Mason?
Well,
Is it because it's probably the Canal post-credit
yeah.
scene
So in
is happening probably?
So if you've seen the most recent Venom trailer, which you might have because it was at the front of Megalopolis or Joker 2,
yeah.
we do get some hints towards. In fact, Eddie Brock says he gets a vision of Null, who's the ancient god who was the creator of all the symbiotes. So, and it might be Norman Reedus in the movie, or it might just be a guy.
I thought it was going to be like Andy Serkis.
Could be Andy Serkis. Yeah, okay, right. Or at this point,
Norman Reedus, that guy who's never changed his hair.
Precisely. It could. I mean, at this point, it might just be a stand-in guy because it's from the post-credits.
It's like Thanos at the end of the Avengers.
Yes, exactly,
Which was
yeah.
a different guy.
Exactly.
Mm.
So yeah. So is this
Something we're talking about it though, aren't we? It's something to talk about.
Something to talk about. Here's the thing, though. Null's not really a Spider-Man villain.
No.
Like, even though he's the creator of the Venom symbiote,
Yeah.
that's really been it's a cosmic thing. It's
Yeah.
it's Thor, it's Venom,
Spider-Man doesn't fight him on top of the Eiffel Tower or whatever.
but he will.
Or the American Eiffel
But
Tower.
he will.
Yeah, I don't know. I would rather see a black suit Spider-Man, honestly.
Okay,
Maybe
well.
just start with that.
Yeah, sure.
Not
Maybe
just,
start with a
not
grounded...
not just jump to fucking King of the Goo Man or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, maybe start with a small Spider-Man adventure. Whereas maybe start by honoring the promise of the end of the last movie, where he's just a small-time guy again. You know,
Maybe the movie starts and he goes, "You're not going to believe how much of a small-time guy I've been for these
Yeah.
past few years, but it's time for a big adventure."
time for a big multiverse adventure.
Oh God!
Well, he got us.
He certainly did. This is by Variety, Mason.
Mm-hmm.
An article titled, and this bodes well, Toxic Fandom, How Hollywood is Battling Fans Who Are Just Out for Blood, from social media boot camps to superfan focus groups. Here we
Hooray.
go.
Here we
I'm going
go.
to read snippets of this article. But essentially, you know what? I'll just do the article thing.
do the
Why
article.
am I going to explain it when I can just do this?
Yeah.
The threat of toxic fandoms poisoning the enthusiasm has become a seemingly intractable headache for almost every studio, and it's only getting worse. This is a quote from somebody anonymously.
This is intractable.
Yes, it cannot be tracked. People are just out for blood regardless. They think the purity of the first version will never be replaced, or you've done something to upset the canon of a beloved franchise, and they're going to take you down for doing so. An entire YouTube ecosystem is devoted to declaring projects like the Marvels and The Boys woke garbage. So yeah, that is true. But it said perhaps
it's an industry now.
Yes.
We talked about it when we talked to Will
we did.
yesterday, yeah.
And you could listen to that, but it's too late.
It is too late.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it's gone
The
forever.
episode we're half an hour or so in, and it's
I mean,
gone.
it will be out. It'll be out for free. Not the video, but the audio will be on.
Oh yeah, it'll be
It'll be
that's
on the
cool. There you
regular
go.
philosophy feed.
I
Everyone
hope
relax.
so.
Yes.
I would love to be on that show, which we were.
were.
I shouldn't have brought up Dracula, but he collects bones, Mason. I'm gonna have to live with that for
You're
the
gonna
rest
regret
of
it
my life.
forever, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he'll take it out. Do you think he'll take it out?
You could ask him.
Do you think he'll take it out?
You could ask him.
I won't ask him, but do you think he'll just be like, "This is bad," and he'll take it out instinctively?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Perhaps the greatest irony of this phenomena is the disproportionate impact these toxic fandoms have relative to the actual number. I think that is the most true thing in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the loudest voices, and they do they make an impact, and they harass people and make and the videos get millions of views and comments and likes and shares and all of that. But to create a fandom, it has to go beyond that.
Yeah.
It seems like the biggest fandom, but it's a fraction.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
For a show
yeah.
to be successful, it has to go well beyond that.
Yeah, we've talked about this for a long time. If you got just the comic book buying public,
That's 30,000 people.
yeah, exactly, and you got them to buy, only they were going to buy the tickets for the movies they thought were accurate and relevant and true to the books or whatever. That doesn't move the needle at all.
No.
These movies need to be sold to everybody, otherwise,
Yeah.
they're not making their money back.
Those who did talk with Variety all agreed that the best defense is to avoid provoking fandoms in the first place. So in addition to standard focus group testing, studios will assemble a specialized cluster of superfans to assess possible marketing materials for a major franchise project.
So marketing materials.
Yeah, I
So
know, that's interesting. So not even
the content of what they're making.
No.
Just how to sell it to people.
So you're not even pleasing anybody then, really?
No. And what's interesting about this, and the most prominent example, I think, and you already know where I'm going with this, I think, James,
Yeah.
is The Last Jedi was a movie that we like
Yep.
very much, but was very divisive. And then what Lucasfilm did is they capitulated to all the outraged fans and all the YouTube videos saying this movie sucks and blah blah blah, and they corrected.
Yeah.
And they made a movie that no one likes.
Yes.
So it's evidently it doesn't work at all.
No.
And then they just stopped making Star Wars movies.
That movie also made a shitload of money.
Right.
Like The Last Jedi. Not as much as The Force Awakens, but it never was going to. Like, The Empire Strikes Back didn't make as much money as the original Star Wars. It's the way. It was.
Yeah.
The Force Awakens was like a cultural phenomenon.
This is the way.
This is the way, yeah. They're very vocal, said a studio exec. They will tell us, if you do that, fans are going to retaliate. These groups have even led studios to alter the projects. There you go. If it's early enough and the movie isn't finished yet, we can make those kind of changes.
You shouldn't though.
Here's the thing, right? As we've talked about, I think the problem is the reason why streaming numbers are dipping. It's not because of these fandoms like screaming at you. And I'm sure that is fucking annoying. Like I can imagine it would be unrelenting and annoying.
Yes.
And it'd be hard to ignore. But I think we've got this glut of like Marvel and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and it's just exhausting to keep track of and like keep up with. And we've said this before, but if you just make less things and make them better, all this idea of like forced diversity and going back to the source material and whatever, that goes away.
Yeah.
If you make a good project, there's no argument to be made that it was destroyed because there's a female lead or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Andor has a Latino lead, right? And has a very diverse cast. And look,
It's got British people again.
It's got British people, yuck, obviously. And it did super well,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of examples like that of just a thing that is made well
Yeah.
and people like, and it's either critically well received or it like commercially does very well. Like, because if you look at like what Star Wars have been putting out, like Mandalorian season 3, Ahsoka, like that fucking the one,
Acolyte.
the Acolyte or whatever. Like mid-tier Marvel movies, like Ms. Marvel was like, I didn't even hate it, but it was fine. And I'm not going into bat for it, you know,
Right,
like I'm not going to defend this. Like Lord of the Rings again, the second season is stronger. It's fine. Game of Thrones.
Are you watching that?
I'm a couple episodes behind, but
Okay,
it is stronger than last season. I don't really like new Game of Thrones, right? Either, but it's just because they're just okay. Like they're just not great, and it's not because of all the shit in like the people perceive it to be. They're just not that good or interesting.
Absolutely.
And they cut seasons short, and they like the budget gets ripped out of things.
They do a season of things. They do a new season of a thing every 2 years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's longer. And I think people are drifting away. It's on the most basic level of like if somebody says, "Hey, what's a good trick for having people listen to your podcast?" You'd say, "Do it every week."
Yeah.
Like pick a release schedule that's consistent because otherwise,
and have the time of your life.
exactly. And because if you skip a week with no explanation, people just go and find something else.
Yeah.
It's the same with this. If you're not producing it, people will lose track of the characters. They're
Like
just
3 or 4 years between
Yeah.
seasons of Game of Thrones or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who any of these people are.
And speaking of, you were saying just make it good and it'll work.
Yeah. And that's easy to say, obviously.
Well, it is, isn't it? But I think you see that a lot in the gaming sphere, from what I can gather.
Yeah.
Where people will be really critical of a thing, go, "Oh, it's so woke and DEI and all this sort of stuff." But if it's good, they find ways to say it's not woke.
Exactly.
Have you seen that?
Bend over backwards, yeah.
They were like, Baldur's Gate 3, well, it's not, but I mean...
Everybody's gay in that,
Yeah,
Mason.
they're right there. It's not successful it's successful because it's not woke. And it's like, what are you talking... Well, they don't throw it in your face. Well, they kind of do.
It's like that game where it's just basically Starship Troopers. It's like, well, there's no
Helldivers,
political messages in this. And like, I don't even know how to like come at you with that. Like your base level of knowledge doesn't have the foundation for me to explain anything to you.
Right.
You know, like...
Yeah.
So, like, the option is you strip everything back and you make less and you make it better and consistently.
But they're not allowed to do that anymore.
But you're not allowed to.
Because the shareholders are
Yeah.
like... Again, the shareholders are like... Remember when you made those Avengers movies and they made $1 billion? Just do that 5 times a year.
Yeah.
If you just do that 5 times a year, we'll be happy.
And so you got that, which they probably won't do. Or option 2 is you cater to all these big sooks, and then we just get a fucking deep-faked Luke Skywalker who time travels to stop Order 66 with his fucking dad or whatever. Which, by the way, sounds incredible now that I say it out loud,
Right?
obviously.
It's a perfect idea.
And General Grievous's ghost is there and he goes, "Hello, I'm here too." I don't know. Do you know, like, that we're just going to get that shit, and I don't want that. I want, like, good new things.
Right?
You know?
Well, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? There are a lot of people out there who don't want new good things. They want the things they remember from when they were kids.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
that's
all
more
your heroes are
comforting.
dead.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
real life, but I guess they can bring them back.
That's right. Peter Cushing's dead.
He died.
Your hero, Peter Cushing. He's not coming back.
I think also this speaks to, like, that new Star Wars Ubisoft game, right?
Oh, Outlaws?
Outlaws.
Right.
And I'm going to buy it when it's like $12 next week. But it sold like 1 million units, which for a Star Wars game is very little. And again, there is that argument of like, well, it's got it's diverse lead and whatever, because it's a woman, etc.
They made her less hot than in real life.
made her less hot.
That's what I saw. They were like, look, the model in real life, she's so hot, and they made her less hot.
God, that's crazy. I would hate that. If that was me, if someone made me less hot,
Right.
Whenever we get fan art and I'm less hot, God, I don't like it. But like, that game has done poorly because it was unfinished when they put it out. Also, it's fine, by the way.
All right.
But it's unfinished when they put it out, and it's off the back of 12 years of Ubisoft releasing the same game.
Sure.
So, like, you're going to have to make something, like, better than okay for people to respond.
But can they do that 5 times a year?
No, they obviously can't. But, what? So you make more games to get the same amount of return, but they're worse, and they all sell
Jane.
worse.
You don't know anything about business. Yes, that's what they're going to do.
I don't mind this part of it, though, is when things get really bad, especially involving threats on the internet, security firms will scrub talent information from the internet to protect them from doxing. So that is something. Like,
I mean, they haven't really done that
no,
yet.
they haven't at all. But if they started to do that,
That would be pretty cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if people don't find out where you live. And try to kill you.
I mean, there seems to have been an awful lot of, like, just putting the stuff out there and then throwing the female actors to the wolves,
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't it good that movies and TV are where they're at?
I think so.
For good or ill?
Because the only way is up or down.
There's plenty of room down there, right?
So much room.
We could get lower. more stuff, but like worse.
More AI remakes of things.
Yeah.
Did you see that AI trailer? It was a remake of the trailer for Princess Mononoke.
Oh my, yeah, I
and
did
it was
see
like,
that. I saw.
I've heard the guy that made this movie doesn't like AI. He said it was like antithetical to life itself or something.
It's true, yeah.
But he's like, but I'm going to make it anyway because it's pretty good. And it's exactly it's every AI
know,
trailer.
exactly.
It's just people looking. Just people just looking.
But also all the characters look different in every frame or what.
Yeah.
Awful.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg, James.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be 90 minutes of that. Of just a horse going and then cut to somebody going, and then a castle and then somebody else going, a princess going,
Yeah.
90 minutes.
And there's a bad narration.
But it only costs like 10 grand, so,
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah, it's a big return. If
long as it's
everybody
cheap.
pays $1.
Yeah, everything's bad. Speaking of,
Go on.
should we move on to our review?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Before we get into this talk of Joker 2 Folie Adieu, I just wanted to mention up top that the movie does depict or imply sexual assault, so we will be covering that in our review. Rob Collins is going to put in time code, so if that's something that you don't need to hear, feel free to skip over that. We'll try to isolate it to like one particular section.
Yeah, for sure.
But everything else we'll avoid it.
Keep lighthearted and fun.
That's
Joker
right.
2 Folie Adieu.
Man. Mason, did you know this maybe cost $200 million?
I've heard maybe it cost that.
That has been...
I mean, Lady Gaga's not cheap, presumably. No. Joaquin Phoenix.
They had to build that
cheap.
courtroom.
I mean, the last one made $1 billion, so I imagine Joaquin Phoenix could command a bit more.
Absolutely.
Bit more moolah for this
Half
one.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, though, Todd Phillips has said it's not that much or whatever. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think this is a very expensive movie based on getting Todd Phillips, Lady Gaga, and Joaquin Phoenix back. Like that alone, I think this would easily approach $200 million. But its US opening, abysmal.
Yeah.
It's opened to $45 million compared to the first one, which was 96.2. So, which broke records as an R-rated movie. It was the biggest R-rated movie of all time before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, breaking $1 billion. But this is even lower than they thought it was going to be when they thought it was going to be low.
Now, is this lower than, for example, the movie Madam Web?
That's funny you should say that, mate. And I do have some numbers here. I don't have that specifically, but Black Adam opened at $67 million, which was higher. The Flash, dreadful movie for ghouls.
Sure.
Was,
and starring ghouls.
And starring ghouls.
Made by ghouls.
Opened to $55 million, but it also, the Marvels beat it as well, which opened to $46 million. So this is...
And the Marvels is woke, and this is not woke.
Not very... Oh, what? I don't know. Who even knows? I don't know what people see in anything anymore, mate.
It's almost like that's a meaningless term.
Yeah, this is a Rorschach painting of a movie, isn't it?
Rorschach, interesting you say
like
that.
the Joker. I don't have Madam Web numbers, but I cannot imagine. Let me just check that.
Or Morbius numbers? It's got to be pretty close.
I think it's Morbius. I think it's...
Got to remember that Morbius got a movie theater debut twice.
Morbius did $39 million, so Morbius was less.
Okay, all right. Morbius still the king.
It beat Megalopolis.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So you happy with that?
No, I'm not
Oh
happy.
my God, Madam Web was 49.1.
There it is.
Oh no, that was worldwide.
Okay, right.
I apologize. So Forbes is saying also...
They're the money boys.
They are.
Forbes, we're the money boys.
They said this does have a budget of nearly $200 million plus marketing. To break even, this needs to make $500 million.
Well, the last one made $1 billion.
I know.
So that should be easy.
Just make half.
Yeah. All you have to do is make half the money of the last one.
Got your money back.
Yeah, I mean, unless you make a movie specifically to mock the people who really like the last one. But nobody's stupid enough to do that, would they?
Even if they were a bunch of dorks, Mason.
Yeah.
This is
I never liked the last one, so I'm in the clear.
This is like an unmitigated disaster. Make no mistake, and it's the year for it, Mason.
It is, really is.
Audiences hate this. Critics don't really seem to like it. The Rotten Tomato score dropped lower and lower. People have called it boring, pointless, an insult to the original Joker movie.
Insult to incels.
A perfect movie, Mason.
Wow. My Twitter algorithm has served me a lot of people that really, really, really like this movie.
Yeah.
But clicking through, I think a lot of them are like Lady Gaga super fans.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think
you're in that algorithm.
Somehow I've ended up in there, yeah. And I think they're just making the best of the situation. I mean, she's pretty good in it.
Yeah, I agree.
What remains in the movie of her, I suspect a lot got cut out.
It does feel that way, yeah. What the hell is this?
Oh, here we go.
What do you think the story was?
Oh, right.
It's 2 years after he did a big Joker on television.
He did the big Joker on television. Remember that? He was like, I'm the Joker, baby.
Yeah.
Bang, bang. Bang, and one for you too, Mark Maron.
What?
You're too wily for me, Mark Maron.
Yeah, Mark Maron.
You missed out. You're not in this. You're not in the sequel.
I wish he was.
Me too.
Because he could have been one of the people they brought back to the courtroom.
Right.
Because they were like, and for the next witness. And I'm like, there are no more witnesses.
Right.
I remember that first movie. There's not many people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, go on.
Anyway, so it's been 2 years since he did all those murders.
Yeah.
And he's still in Arkham Hospital. They're going to do a competency hearing to see if he's sane enough to stand trial. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do a big trial.
Yeah.
But before the big trial, some of the guards have taken a bit of a shine to him.
Yeah.
Because they find him so delightful.
He's a funny fella.
He's a funny little fella. And so they decide to take him over to B Ward, Burt Ward, that must be a reference, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Good reference.
Yeah.
And over in B Ward,
there's a few good references in this, wouldn't you
there's
say?
so many good references.
You love comic book movies that are barely comic book movies, don't you?
I do. We'll get into that.
They're afraid
Yeah,
to
we'll
do it.
we'll talk about that a little bit later. But over there, it's non-violent inmates, and he catches the eye of one Lee Quinzel, who's in there. She's in the singing department.
Yeah.
Well, they all sing, and they're like, "Why don't you have a sing also, Arthur Fleck?"
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't mention his name yet, but it's Arthur Fleck.
It is. It was in the first one too.
It's just so true.
And she's like, I love you. You're the Joker.
You're Joker, baby.
Yeah.
No, everybody says Joker, which I
Yeah.
don't like.
No? Yeah.
He's the Joker.
Not this one.
No, he's not. He's Joker, baby.
Yeah.
He's like, you're Joker. Why can't you be more Joker? I'm in love with you because you're Joker.
Be Joker for me.
And then the rest of the movie is a courtroom drama and a musical. But they've not really committed to the musical part.
Yeah, and the courtroom drama is like, is this guy who definitively shot 5 people going to walk free? No. Obviously not.
Because we all know he done it.
Yeah, he says he did it. Like,
Yeah.
everybody knows. Like,
Okay, but what if? So this movie posits, it opens with a little kind of Warner Brothers Looney Tunes cartoon called Me and My Shadow, I think, that implies that his personality was split into two. He's Arthur Fleck, but he's also Joker.
Yeah.
And it was actually Joker that did all the murders, so technically.
See, I think
Which is a real Two-Face kind of situation, which I don't think was present in the first movie at all.
I think that is like the initial interpretation, and that's kind of the defense that they mount. But what I took from that towards the end was that it shows, because his shadow is kind of getting up to mischief. It's basically that the shadow has grown. The shadow of the Joker has outgrown him and is getting him into trouble. That's how I think initially, it's a split personality, but I don't necessarily.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, he's just a
Not
little
his
guy.
fault. Nothing's his fault.
Yeah. And look, as somebody who didn't love the first movie, I thought it was okay.
Okay,
You
terrific.
hated it.
The
for
first
the most
movie?
part. Yeah. I think this one is slightly better just because there's some more interesting ideas. Like, it does, all the performances are as good as they've ever been. Joaquin Phoenix is great. I like Lady Gaga.
Did you like his Foghorn Leghorn impression?
I loved it. I loved how it went for 10 minutes. I think the way that it deconstructs what some people think of that character is funny to me. And maybe I'm turning into the Joker.
You might be turning into the
because
Joker.
he became this kind, like, the mythos behind that movie that, like, oh, this guy is dangerous and this movie will make you run out into the street and flip a cop car. And this movie just goes, nah, he was a fucking loser. And he was failed by his family and the system, and nobody cares about him, and he sucks, and he's a virgin. So I think that is so interesting to
torpedo your own movie.
Yeah.
And the
right?
fan base.
Yes.
Because it's not our money.
No.
At $200 million of our money. So anyway, if you're listening, Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix, and Lady Gaga, James has just said he thinks this is slightly better than the first one. So well done.
I
Well done,
do
you
think
guys.
that. I
Well
do
done.
because and look, I won't die on that hill. But again, like, I don't particularly like the first one. So me saying it's slightly better, don't take that as any kind of high praise.
They won't. You didn't even say it was good.
I didn't say that, no.
So yeah, like you said, this movie is almost entirely contained within the walls of a courtroom and the prison.
Yep.
It's just a lot of it is just relitigating literally the events of the first movie.
Yeah.
We've got a man portraying Harvey Dent as the prosecutor.
Yeah.
I looked at the Wikipedia page, and the actor was apparently told he went out of his way not to look at any of the other performances of Harvey Dent in Batman Forever and all that.
That's very evident because he's just a guy.
And The Dark Knight and et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, and I'm like, did you not see any of those even by accident? They were all pretty big movies. How did you?
I think he does a good job though.
Yeah, he's fine. He's smarmy.
Yeah.
If you, I kind of feel like Harvey Dent needs a certain amount of physicality to him. You know
Bit
what
of
I mean?
a skinny lollipop head
This
man.
guy was a bit of a skinny lollipop head man. Yeah. So yeah, we get
Those are your words.
I agree. So we get an assortment of character witnesses brought in. Arthur's defense attorney, played by Catherine Keener, who's delightful.
Yeah.
She wants to bring in a bunch of people to say, well, actually, it's a different man. You know, Joker's a different person, but D.A. Harvey Dent is like, isn't he the same guy pretty much? Anyway, it's just that for like 2 hours.
Yeah, isn't he the same guy, but pretty much?
He was pretty much, actually. He is, in a way, he is the same guy, yeah. But it's interspersed with a variety of half-hearted musical interludes. So it might be just Arthur Fleck singing in his mind in the prison, or it might be
him crying into a phone.
Yeah, it could be crying into a phone, or maybe Lady Gaga is there and he's there and they sing to each other in a prison cell.
Sometimes they're real, sometimes they're not.
Sometimes it's like a Sonny and Cher kind of variety show and they're out there and singing and talking to a crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I thought that one was interesting. I think because it's not just.
I think maybe that. Look, I didn't think the singing was particularly great, but I thought it was the most interesting part of this.
I think it was.
Besides Todd Phillips torpedoing a movie to, because that's what Zaslav would love right now, to spend $200 million on a movie and make nobody want to watch it. Again, fascinating.
But I also think, like, just to quickly get back to that, I mean, that's how I interpreted that movie. Not to say that that's right, but I didn't look at that movie and go, "What a cool guy."
No,
I was like, "This is a guy who has like limited mental capacity.
Yeah,
who's been like who's fallen through the cracks and he broke.
Yeah,
right. And this movie just basically reiterates that and just kind of puts the boot in a little bit more.
And then it's like, so what do you think about him now? I think the same. I think the same thing as the last time, but I'm now kind of more sad for everybody around him, I guess, because we get the return of a couple of people. Let's perhaps talk about it in spoilers.
Yep.
We get the return of some people who are just like, yeah, he was weird and strange and violent, and I was scared.
Yeah,
and I thought he was the same guy. Okay, thank you. Next witness. Like that was sort of over and over again. There was a certain point, and maybe people would reach it at different times, but I think there was at one point. We did get a return of one of these characters, and I went, oh, this movie, I don't think it's going to go any further than the last one.
Yeah.
Like it's just sort of saying, to me, it's just saying over and over again, nothing matters, and this guy's going to fall through the cracks, and it's sad, and everybody got traumatized, and it's bad, and there's not a happy ending for anybody, and that's it. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I did see the last one.
That's
again,
true.
This movie it's like you said, it's going like, actually, you were wrong. Your assessment about him from the last movie was wrong. But it wasn't, so...
We were right, actually. You confirmed it for us.
Yeah, that's right. So this is...
You made a movie that made me feel right.
This is largely unnecessary.
Yeah.
So to me, it kind of needed... I guess it's about the journey then. If I'm not going to be...
Sure.
If I'm not going to be sort of challenged and surprised by this and have my expectations of that character turned around by the end of this movie, I want to see some interesting stuff happen in it.
Yes, and in that journey, which is mostly a court case, as you said, it's like...
Your witness?
Yeah, it's like, you're the same, you are the Joker, and you did kill these people. We all know that. And it feels kind of like mostly pointless. And there's a moment where like he kind of like... He takes control of the case. And
yes, because Harley Quinn says, "Oh, you should fire your." I guess the most interesting part of it to me is that the Catherine Keener as his defense is kind of trying to push this idea of like, no, you're not the Joker, you're just Arthur Fleck, and it was a different personality, and you were pushed towards it. But Harley Quinn is like, no, you should be the Joker because that's what all the people outside, all the people who've been inspired by you, that's what they want to see.
Yes.
This is being televised, and you want everybody to see this, and that's how you'll win. Kind of thing.
But also, like, obviously not because, like, if you just prove to everybody that you're the Joker, what the judge is going to go, great.
unless you kill the judge with a hammer in your mind.
That is true. You could do that.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, like, it's almost... It's
Also, just one thought before you get to that. Also, to be clear, this is not a comic book movie.
Oh,
The last one wasn't either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, again, just to put in a couple of references and a couple of names.
Barely.
Burt Ward, for example, a famous reference.
Yeah.
So again, this isn't. It's sort of.
You think it'd be Ward B, you know?
Yeah, you'd think it would be a
You'd
Ward.
think
It would
that.
be Ward B.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just we've fallen into the trap of reviewing this, even though it isn't really, in the wheelhouse at all. And it's happened again.
It's the big movie.
It is the big movie.
We review the big movie.
We do review the big movie. That's true, yeah.
I mean, I just think there's kind of like farcical elements to it where, so when he fires his lawyer and then he just turns up to court dressed as the Joker. And it's,
Dressed as Joker.
Dressed as Joker, sorry. And I guess it's just fucking Air Bud rules because the judge is like, well, there's technically no rule that says that you can't dress as Joker.
I feel there would be. It's called contempt of court.
Yeah.
They have it all. And they have it everywhere.
Lets him like cross-examine witnesses, but he clearly doesn't know what he's doing because he's an idiot. Like, it makes it very clear that he himself is very easily manipulated, and he's not really the Joker or Joker because the Joker doesn't kill 5 people and then go on trial. And then, like, that's the end of his story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... And I guess that movie also... It pretty much... that's kind of where it goes towards the end. Also, there's no double stair kick.
That's true. A lot of stuff from the
What
trailer
the
did
hell?
get cut out. I don't know, man. There's a few bits. There's a pivotal scene towards the end that involving the stairs.
Yeah.
There's a double kick, but there's also another situation on the stairs that again is not in the movie, which suggests that they maybe didn't even know where it was going towards the
some
end.
information on and
Is
on
that
an
a spoiler
alternate
type
ending.
moment?
It
Yeah.
will absolutely will be.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, the real star of this movie is cigarettes.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Makes you
Cigarettes
want to
for
smoke
days.
a big cigarette.
God, everyone's so dirty.
It
Punching darts.
doesn't matter where you could be in maximum security solitary confinement lockup in Burt Ward.
Yeah.
And they'll just give you cigarettes. And
Give
can
you a
just-
goddamn
you can
cigarette.
I mean, you've had a tough week of being Foghorn Leghorn and defending yourself against all those murders that you definitely did. But you can still be in the hole, in the Burt Ward hole, smoking.
What do you
some
line them
durries.
with? Other cigarettes.
Yeah, almost.
You're just going tip to tip.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
goddamn night.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, Joaquin Phoenix, he's great. I think he might even be better than the first one. I think he does more. I think his range, like his physicality, like he starts small.
Right,
And he
uh-huh.
kind of, when he becomes Joker, he's bigger.
He's
like,
big,
like
yeah.
in like physicality and just personality.
Okay, sure, I see that.
Yeah, I think also like it's interesting because he's also portraying a man when he's Arthur Fleck that like he barely exists.
Right,
Like he's like a whisper of a human being.
That's true, he is.
Yeah.
He's swallowed up by those big underpants, isn't he?
He certainly is, yeah. And I do like Lady Gaga. I think what's her name? Lee
Quinzel. They've
whatever.
called her Lee Quinzel in this.
I think it's
Or
interesting.
maybe just Lee Quinn, I don't know.
Yeah, the way that she perceives him, and it's like, well, is she manipulating him because she has a background in psychology? Like they bring that over.
She gives him a sort of a sob story about killing her parents, and maybe that isn't true. And she got thrown in the hospital, but maybe she didn't. etc. And that all sort of unravels, and then the question then becomes: is she manipulating him, or does she even know she is? Maybe she just.
Does she believe he's a person who he isn't?
Yeah.
And the movie answers all of these questions.
Very, very satisfyingly.
Agreed. It's a good movie.
Worst movie ever, though.
Let me just say, Deadline apparently said that Joker 2 wasn't tested, which in turn provided a problem, which was in terms of creating a marketing strategy.
God, they should have gotten those super fans in.
I
They should have
know.
assembled that super fan team.
Because that is true. If you look at the marketing for this, like, the reason why it didn't have this initial kind of burst at the very least is because people were like, I don't like this or understand what's happening here.
Right.
Like, it's a musical or it's not? Wait, what?
How much of the idea that it was a musical was in any of the trailers or anything?
Very
like that?
little, I feel.
But see, that's the thing. So I would have thought that the huge box office of the previous one and the fact that, it's more of Joker and there was double kicks and there was there was running through the streets in the trailer, and
Yeah.
and he's in the spotlight and he's in a white suit and it looks very exciting.
Damn.
You would think that would immediately translate to at least a big initial box office opening weekend,
Yeah.
and then if people didn't like it, word of mouth would spread, and then it would be that famously massive drop off we get sometimes. But just never came out of the gate.
Nope.
So what happened? Did people?
Yeah.
People
Did
learn?
peop-
Was it the fact that it is a musical?
Yeah, well, that's
of
what I was going to say.
sorts?
Did people figure out that what it was going to be or what they thought it was going to be and were
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not interested in this? It is wild that it is bombing so hard. Yeah.
I mean, it isn't great, but also
I love it.
you'd think it would have tricked enough people.
Yeah.
Or does the if we were to look, knowing what we know now, having seen the movie, if we were to look back on the trailers, do they give the impression that it is going to be kind of a dismantling of the mythos of the Joker or Joker?
I don't know about
No,
that.
I don't think it is either, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I thought the relationship between Harley, Lee, Quinn, whatever, and Joker, I thought that was the most interesting element of the story. I thought their chemistry was interesting, and there was also some fun with them as well.
Yeah, it was fun.
Like actual genuine fun. I think that for me, for the most part, I guess worked. I am going to say best movie ever.
Interesting.
But it's also mostly because they torpedoed this seemingly on purpose. And I just think that is incredibly bold.
On purpose, or because Todd Phillips doesn't know how to direct a sequel?
I mean,
somehow?
I don't even know.
Does he get the yips after because The Hangover was good for its time.
sure,
it probably
yeah.
hasn't aged all that well.
Yeah.
But that was really good. And then the sequels were garbage.
Yeah.
And that seems to be his MO.
I don't know how many sequels he's doing, but also, like, I'd imagine that most of the story of this came from Joaquin Phoenix. I think he would have had almost like universal creative control on this.
Right,
Otherwise, Todd Phillips would be talking about doing a Harley Quinn spin-off or a Joker 3 or whatever, and he is very much like, I am not doing this ever again.
Interesting,
And I
yeah.
think that says something because he made The Hangover 3.
Okay.
Anyway, best movie ever by a long way.
Wow.
This is a good movie. Don't you think?
It's better than Megalopolis. So that's
Yeah,
maybe it's recalibrated my brain entirely. So maybe it is the best movie ever. Let me think about it for a moment.
I just find it interesting. I
It
just
is
think the whole
interesting.
thing is interesting, and not necessarily the movie, but just the whole thing is
Yeah, I did
interesting.
have another thought on it. What was it? Oh, yeah. So people sort of, I saw some people going, okay, well, it's not what people want. What people probably wanted was a little bit of maybe, prison movie, a little bit of kind of courtroom drama, and then he gets out and he goes on a spree.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Are we in spoilers now?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But I think, and people have said, well, actually, that would be against the spirit of what is happening in that movie.
Okay.
But I think there is more of there should be a more happy medium there, right?
Yeah. Let's do some spoilers now.
Okay. I'm going to say it was the best movie ever.
I'm going to say that too.
Yeah, there we go. We've done it, folks.
We've done it. It's the best movie.
And for people who are out there who are like, what did you say about, listen to the rest of the review.
Yeah.
We just did the review, so you listen.
Yeah.
Our opinions are contained within the...
And we only have two options.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was forced on us.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think there is something to be said for because, okay, so spoilers. At the end of it, we're jumping around a bit, where the courtroom wall blows out and some Joker acolytes rescue him. And then you think, and he
Well, they
thinks...
sort of rescue him by accident.
Yes, they don't
Because the
mean to.
explosion almost certainly would have killed him.
Yeah.
Because it killed most of the people in that
And he was the
building.
closest to that explosion,
Yeah,
it would say.
maybe because he was at the heart of he was the eye of the storm. It
That's
didn't kill
probably
him.
that's why. That it
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
kill
yeah.
him.
So the Joker cultists blow up the wall of the
He
courtroom.
gets chased by bigger Joker.
He gets chased by one of his what do you call them?
acolytes.
Yeah, acolytes. That'll do. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. His
Minions.
What does Jesus have? Minions. Jesus has minions. Right?
minions, yeah, disciples.
There we go. And they're like, okay, we're going to get you to safety, and they put him in a car, and then he realizes he doesn't want to be part of it or whatever, and he just runs away, and they
Yeah.
chase him. Yeah, that happens, and then he gets caught.
Yeah,
by the
because he
police.
has this idea that he goes back to the stairs where he did the big Joker dance,
Hmm.
and that just kind of confirmed to me that this is not a well man. He catches up to Harley Quinn or whatever her name is, and he's like, let's go and build a
Or
mountain.
does he?
Or does yeah, it could be fake. Who cares?
Well, because there's a scene prior to that where she puts a gun to her head.
Yeah, I
and
know.
maybe she
Yeah,
shot
it might
herself.
not be real or whatever, but yeah.
And then
yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, "Oh, I only liked you because you were Joker."
Yeah, no, you're not
You know.
Joker.
Doesn't that? I mean, if anything, isn't that going to teach incels that you should be Joker?
That's
You
a
know?
great point.
You know,
Because girls will like you.
Not being Joker
Yeah.
has ruined his whole deal.
Yeah.
So if you just lean into being Joker,
Yeah.
then you're cool.
Like he was never gonna. He doesn't have the capacity to get away.
No.
Like he's not. And we know this because the movie tells us at the end, and Todd Phillips said this, but like he's not the Joker because he's not a criminal mastermind.
No.
He's
a sad guy.
He's a sad guy who like has been failed multiple times and he broke. Anyway, we're going to talk a bit about the sexual assault in this now. If you want to skip ahead.
Oh, Brendan Gleeson is in this.
Yes.
He's one of the guards.
Yep.
He's taken a shine to Arthur Fleck.
Yes.
But of course, he's he's also a very nasty man. They all are.
They all are
in that prison.
Yeah.
And he goes. There's the moment in the movie where Arthur is convinced by Harley that he should be Joker in the courtroom.
Full Joker.
And so he gets in there and he puts the Joker suit on and Air Bud rules apply. So he's allowed to do it. And he does the full foghorn leghorn and he goes in and he talks to Gary Puddle, who was the little person in the previous movie, who Arthur didn't kill because he was the nice one. And then he just sort of traumatizes this guy in the stand. Yeah. And the guy's like, I'm scared and I'm sad.
The judge is like, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'll allow you to do this. That's fine. But then Arthur makes such a spectacle of himself as Joker.
Yeah.
That when he gets put back in prison.
He insults the guards as well.
Yeah. He gets too full of himself.
Yeah.
And then they assault him in the showers. They drag him into the darkness and
you don't see it.
No.
But they basically assault the Joker out of him.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I hate this, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it apparently also why also doesn't become the Joker is because the kid that he's friends with also gets murdered by the guards that same night. So it's two things. And then when he goes back into the courtroom, he's just like, no, I don't want to be the Joker anymore. And I just think that like, what's such a weird way to approach this? Like it's just awful.
It is awful, yeah. It's like, remember when Zack Snyder was always like, oh, put Batman in prison. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
It's like Todd Phillips took that and went, let's do that for real. That would be fun.
Strange.
It's actually not fun.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll stop talking about that here.
Yeah, sure.
Time code.
Yeah,
it's Crook. Collins. Yeah, it's Crook as. Anyway, Harvey Dent's in this.
Yep.
And he becomes Two-Face or Harvey Scratchface.
Scratchface. Yep. Well, that's a big teaser for the next one, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
Where he'll be a man with a slightly scratched face.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll be traumatized and maybe he won't want to go back to being the DA because he got scratched in the face in a courtroom.
Slightly.
Yeah, so that'll be the whole next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of it, he'll be like, no, I think I'll retire, actually.
Because of the scratches on my face.
Because of the scratches on my face, yeah.
God, it's just, I mean, I didn't think they were going to do it at all. But this is worse. You can't just like commit a little bit more to that.
Yeah, right.
Just a little bit more.
Also, here's one that it's just occurred to me. At the end of the first movie, it was sort of heavily implied that one of the clowns was going to kill the Wayne family.
Yes,
but it's not mentioned in this at all.
No, that is true.
And you'd think it would be because they'd say
it's pretty significant.
They'd say the riot that was caused Arthur Fleck and that resulted in the death of the Wayne family, a big deal or whatever, right? But just didn't happen, I guess.
I also think, isn't it strange that like if you wanted people to come and see this movie, and I said this in one of the live shows I did in the UK, you put Batman in this.
Sure.
That's the answer.
Or a Batman-like character.
Exactly.
Or you do it Gotham style. You go, okay, the Joker's just a sad man in prison, but he inspired the Riddler.
Yeah.
And there's a Riddler out there now.
He's riddling around.
He's riddling around. He's wriggling around.
He's wriggling and
riddling. There's a penguin. Make Gary Puddle the penguin or
something.
He's
the penguin, Mason.
You know? Sure.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is but the point of this Joker is he's not the Joker.
Correct.
Because the Joker gets jokered by the Joker.
Oh yeah, so that's the big finish. For people who have not seen this movie, have continued to listen to this review, and have perhaps heard some rumors on the social media rumor mill that this is what was going to happen. At the end of the movie, he's back in prison.
Yep.
He's been found guilty because he did it all and he admitted it.
Yeah.
And he's a bad lawyer.
And he said that he killed his mum.
Yeah, he admitted all that. So he's going to get double the chair, I guess. He's going to get the chair for the first 5 murders, and then they're going to put him back in the chair and then fry him again for killing his mum. But then he's back in prison, and then one of the guards is like, hey, Arthur, you've got a visitor. And he goes out into the hall to go to the place where you see your visitors. And then a guy who we've seen a couple of times in the movie, like very briefly, another inmate.
He's smiling away in the background. He's smiling away.
You see him a couple of times. He maybe has a line or two in the movie. Yeah. He shows up behind Arthur Fleck, and he has a chat with him, and then he tells him a joke, and then he stabs him like 20 times with a knife. And then as Arthur Fleck falls to the ground and is bleeding to death, presumably to death, unless
Yeah.
they want to bring him back for the sequel.
Yeah.
Joke 3er. And then this guy is laughing away because he's killed the Joker. He's killed Joker, sorry, rather.
Yeah.
And then sort of off camera, we see him carve a
Glasgow smile.
the Joker smile into his face.
It's the Heath
implying
Ledger
that it's the
kind of.
Heath Ledger Joker. Even though that
Oh, I
timeline-
don't think it's implying
No.
that, but
But he's a more intense Joker, I
Yes.
guess. But again, it's really the same thing as the previous movie in that he is a kind of a sad, weak man, but he has inspired people outside of his control.
Yes.
So in the last one, he inspired a gang of people to rise up against inequity and
shoot
corruption
Bruce Wayne's parents.
and shoot Bruce Wayne's parents, which they failed at. So great job, idiots. And in this one, he's inspired, the people outside, the bigger Joker and so forth. But another guy who's like, I'm going to do more Jokery stuff.
I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker, baby, even though I'm probably going to get the chair immediately for this.
Well, there's like a couple of ways you could interpret it. One, that Harley Quinn, who rejected him, came back to show him the baby or whatever. Oh, she's pregnant. Or says she's
or
pregnant.
is she? Maybe she's not even alive.
Yeah, maybe she's not even alive. But probably what happened is the guards were like, "You've got a visitor," but he probably didn't, and the
Yeah.
guards just got him murdered.
Sure,
Because the
yeah.
guards, you could see them manipulating. Or there's one point they get him to kiss another inmate.
That's right.
And so I think that's probably what happened. And I guess if you continued this universe, which they won't,
No.
that's probably Bruce Wayne's Joker.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay, because that guy's quite
He's a bit
significantly
younger and
yeah, right.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, if you fudge the timelines, he
Yeah.
would be this Bruce Wayne's Joker, potentially, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is an interview that Todd Phillips did with EW. He said, yes, this means, in case you
magazine.
didn't know. Yeah, You
Just the
magazine.
crookedest movies they review. Ew. I watched this and I thought, ew.
It's just this and Megalopolis.
Yeah,
I said, yes, this means Arthur was never really Joker in the... He says Joker as well, not the
know,
Joker,
right, yeah.
in the first place. He merely served as an inspiration for the man who would become Joker after him. He realized that everything is so corrupt, it's never going to change, and the only way to fix it is to burn it all down. When those guards killed that kid in the hospital, he realizes that dressing up in makeup, putting on this thing, it's not changing anything. In some ways, he's accepted the fact that he's always been Arthur Fleck. He's never been this thing that's been put upon him. This idea that the Gotham people put on him, that he represents. He's an unwitting icon. This thing was placed on him. Yeah, he said that. And he doesn't want to live as a fake anymore. He wants to be who he is. Nobody, essentially.
Wow.
He's a nobody man. And also, there was an original ending to this, and there is some footage of it. It's got Harley Quinn dancing on the stairs. It's Lady Gaga singing, and then the cops swarm on her. And what it seems to be that the original ending, or one of the ending, was he goes to the stairs and she kills him.
Yeah,
and
right,
then
right,
she
right.
does the big Joker dance.
Uh-huh.
But in this, it seems to be that because when they meet at the stairs, if she's alive, which she might not be, he goes back down the stairs. And if you remember in the first movie, going down the stairs represents his descent into madness. And she goes up because she's like, I don't believe in this shit anymore. I'm out of here.
Interesting.
So you could
okay.
look at it that way as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just really good stuff, isn't it, Mason?
It's pretty very good stuff, I think.
Makes you think about being the Joker.
Did you know that Todd Phillips has a link to famous clown serial killer, John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah, what is this?
So this is years ago. Todd Phillips was making a documentary about G.G. Allen, who's like a famous performance artist, musician.
Okay.
A real eat his own poo kind of guy.
Oh,
One of those guys.
okay, yeah. I
Yeah. So he was set about making a documentary. Hated G.G. Allen and the Murder Junkies, one of the highest-grossing student films of all time. But he needed to make some funding for it. He needed to get some funding to finish it. So G.G. Allen was friends with John Wayne Gacy, and Todd Phillips asked Gacy to paint a promotional poster for the film. So Gacy agreed to make the poster for $50, and Phillips sold 1,000 posters for $15 each and ended up making $10,000. So in a way, John Wayne Gacy was like a producer of the film.
Incredible.
And if you look at John Wayne Gacy in clown makeup, it's just Joker. Like the Joker makeup in this movie, it's the same.
You're right, it's not
It's
dissimilar,
exactly
yeah.
the same.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I just saw this article via Deadline, Mason. Apparently, Warner Brothers gave Todd Phillips final cut. That's because of the work that he did on the original Joker movie and also the Hangover movie. So in total, he's earned them like $2.5 billion. So then they were like, you can do this weird auteurish kind of run at the Joker.
I mean, don't lose us any money.
Yeah, no, obviously not, yeah. And the other thing is, this is fun. Somebody asked...
Well, we need a bit of fun, quite frankly.
Somebody asked James Gunn on Twitter, JJ124654 said, bro, why is there no DC Studios logo on Joker Folie Adieu? And
because they're simultaneously attempting to blame James Gunn for this.
yeah.
And blame James Gunn for not doing this.
Yeah.
Like, however this turns out, it's got to be James Gunn's fault somehow.
He said, yeah, because it's not a DC Studios film.
Right.
And this was in production, I think, before he came on board, regardless.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I like that he's just like, this is not one of mine.
You sure? Yeah.
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 Got some reviews here, Mason,
Oh,
from
I'm
people
ready.
who saw the movie.
Oh, maybe just
yeah.
people, did they understand the movie, though, is the question.
Let's find out. C-Ray said, I've regrettably seen Joker Folie Adieu. Todd Phillips fucked it. Literally and figuratively worst movie ever. They mustn't have understood it.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. We understood it. That's why we said it was the best movie
Yeah.
ever.
Master Baden says, saw Joker 2 last night. Loved the first act. It was definitely a bit of a messy movie. Some scenes felt drawn out, especially some of the fantasies and courtroom scenes. It could have been a 2-hour movie, in my opinion. Perfect ending. Keep up the amazing spot pod. Much love, boys.
How long was it? 2.5 hours?
2:20.
There was half an hour of ads before my showing.
Oh, you were in there a while then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan says, Joker 2 Electric Folie Adieu is a comic book movie musical where the person behind it doesn't understand what makes comic books or musicals enjoyable.
Ouchies.
Atrocious.
Ouchie wouchies.
I mean, it isn't really a comic book movie
It's
or
not- no,
a
at all,
musical, is
no.
it? Yeah. That's
Again, they could have. Again, like the initial drawing people in was to just paste some references.
Yeah.
And I'll stand by that, James.
Stow Twitter said, the movie is deeply disappointing, but people got to chill. It's not that bad as a movie. Reminded me of Last Jedi with harsh reviews around it and the way it made its goal to deflate my excitement. Uncle Blademan says, in the first one, the movie tries to make you feel and justify Arthur's anger at the cruel world. This one just tries to make you feel for Arthur's longing for an ounce of happiness in the cruel world, and that is just more compelling. This person also understood the movie.
I agree.
Like we did. And Ryan T says, Joker 2 feels more like a vanity project for its stars and a meaningful expansion on the themes and ideas brought up by the first one. A massive disappointment. And I didn't even like the first one that much. There you go. Well, that's the end of the Joker franchise, Mason.
Goodbye, everybody.
We did it.
We did this.
Leave a comment below if you think it's the end of the Joker franchise.
Leave a comment below if you think we did this.
Yeah, did we do it?
Did we do it, folks? Did we all do it together? I think we did.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we move it along?
Let's move it along.
What to what?
Oh, what we're reading?
Yep.
What are we going to read?
Let's do it.
Nice.
I'm doing the thing. What are we reading today? All right. Wasn't great though, was it?
The movie Joker,
Yeah.
too.
Even though we said best movie ever.
Yeah, no, I think the things we said prior to that contain our real thoughts, I think. And what we said there when we said best movie ever was
when that goes on YouTube, we're going to get some great responses.
I think so too. Should we put best movie ever in the thumbnail?
Yeah.
I think that would work.
We can do that.
Well, how about picture of us?
Yeah.
Speech bubble, best movie ever, and we're wearing Joker like outfits or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty nice. Right?
That's really cool.
Very cool and nice.
What are you reading?
I just got in the post, and it's a big, thick, weighty tome.
Oh.
I got a comic book series that I started reading in the 90s and I never finished.
Damn.
So I got
the Spider-Man Clone Saga?
No, I'll never finish that. I'll die first. It's a Vertigo comic, but it's Sandman Mystery Theater.
Oh, that looks awesome.
This was from Matt Wagner, Stephen T. Siegel, and Guy Davis. So the original Sandman, so like the not the magic one. Neil Gaiman's cancelled.
The guy who just
we didn't bring it up. We missed it.
He sucks.
I think we're away, but yeah, look it up.
Seems like he sucks.
Anyway, there was prior to the Magic Sandman of like the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
There was another character. There was a few others, but the first one was a classic mystery man. He's in a trench coat and a gas mask, and he would go around and solve mysteries. Yeah. And so after the success of the Magic Sandman, they were like, why don't you bring back Vertigo was like, why don't you bring back original Sandman and sort of tie it into the version of Dream. Yeah. So it's about it's set in like 1930s New York. It's Wesley Dodds, who is the original Sandman, and it's sort of him, going through these mysterious adventures, but also he's receiving prophetic dreams from the Sandman. It's just really interesting. It's just
Who wrote it?
Matt Wagner.
Cool.
So he created a character called Grendel in the 90s. Yeah. He did another series called Mage, the Hero Defined, I think. But he's done a bunch of stuff. But it's really good because it feels very period accurate, but it's also Wesley Dodds. He's a millionaire who moonlights as a superhero, but he's not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He's just kind of pudgy and overweight and kind of average looking and but he's got a certain charm to him.
Yeah.
And like his love interest is also kind of just
Has
pretty
his
normal.
action sequencing.
There's a lot of him getting shoved and falling over. He's not great at it necessarily.
But he's out there, isn't he?
He's out there doing his thing,
Making it work.
But yeah, it's a huge compendium. It's many hundreds of pages, so I'm working my way through that. But it's delightful.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what about yourself, James?
Well, I saw 3 movies in 1 week.
Oh, that's right.
At the cinema.
3 movies in 1 week. Neil Finn, one of the great Australians.
Neil Finn. That's right. He's ours.
now.
For now. Yeah. I saw Joker Folie, which
I've
was
heard
the
of
worst movie I saw of the week.
Yeah, nice.
And I saw The Wild Robot, which
yeah.
was the second worst movie I saw of the week.
Interesting.
And I saw
I thought you meant
Transformers
it's bad.
1. No, it's good.
Interesting.
But I just said I'm ranking them from worst to least worst.
I understand. Sure,
and the
sure,
least worst was Transformers 1.
There you go.
Which we'll talk about more next week, which I saw with my son, and I think he had the best time he's ever experienced.
Really?
in his
Wow.
entire life, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Even like playing catch with his dad.
Yep.
Better than that.
That's right.
Wow.
We hate baseball here. So we're both throwing the ball and we're like, fuck
Yucky.
this
You take
sucks.
it. You take
This
it.
is the
I don't
worst.
want it. I don't want it.
Get away
son.
from here. We'll talk about Transformers next week, but The Wild Robot it's a trilogy of books, but it's basically a robot gets dumped on an island and it's like a service droid and it's looking for like a task to do because it's the near future and robots do everything and whatever.
Hell yeah.
But it's just animals on this island, so it ends up like integrating itself within nature.
Okay.
It's a bit kind of more, it's like a bit funnier and more whimsical than the book, which I would highly recommend if you want someone to read to your kid who's like probably about between 6 and 10, depending where your kid's at, would be a good age to start. But it's got Lupita Nyong'o. It's got
great.
What's his name?
Is she the wild robot?
She's the wild robot.
Interesting, okay.
It's got Pedro Pascal.
Oh, is he the wild robot?
He's the wild robot as well.
That's great.
It's got Mark Hamill. He's the wild robot.
Is he not Luke Skywalker?
He's
then?
not Luke Skywalker. No.
Interesting. Okay.
I
He's not
enjoyed
the
it.
Guyver?
No, he's not the Guyver either.
That's a shame.
He's not that person he played in Sequest DSV either.
Okay.
Or Wing Commander.
Not Captain Commander.
No, he didn't play Captain Wing Commander. So, I think...
Wink Commander.
Wing Commander. I liked it. I think it's doing very well. Transformers is not. But I think they're going to do another wild robot, as they should, as them.
Now, do you think Transformers is not doing well as a result of the kind of... Is it the Michael Bay of it all? Or is it just because it's... Or could it be because a lot of the previous ones were pitched as like, these are movies for grown-ups, and this is like...
Yeah.
This is the marketing on... We'll talk about it next week, but the marketing of this has not been good.
I mean, it's everywhere, but I would agree it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, I only watched it because I'm like, well, we'll talk about it on the podcast at some point, but based on the trailers, I'm like, this is sort of the bottom of the barrel, lowest common denominator kid movie, like the most formulaic kid movie ever. Oh, they're just robots and they live a terrible. Oh, it's actually you've got special powers. Oh, let's use the special powers and friendship, and then we'll.
But
and then it's just like and every line is undercut with a joke, just a poor joke. That's what the trailer said. Yeah, there is a little bit of that. Yeah,
but
you'll like some of the characters more than others.
It's better than that, though.
It is better than others.
Again, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah,
when we also probably cover that in Hellboy. Oh, and Snake Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. That's what we've been doing.
That's right.
All right, should we move it along?
Let's move it along. Let's do letters.
Woo!
The classic one was
letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a take away.
You know they're here right now. We're going to do letters.
If you do want to reach the show, you can hashtag Weekly Planet Pod on Twitter. Whoa. Or weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com for a Gmail.
That's perfect.
Got a Gmail for us, Mason?
Oh, I've got some Gmails, brother.
All right.
You better believe it, brother.
I do believe it.
Oh, here we go. This is from Hank. Marvel, subject line Marvel abandoned storylines. And we talked about there's a video, Mr. Sunday Movies video about that. We talked about that. Of course, there's been a lot of post-credit sequences that have led to nowhere, and a bunch of other storylines. We didn't even get to all of them. We did 15, and we didn't finish it.
There's more.
This is from Hank. Hey, mates, I've got a pitch for you about all the Marvel abandoned storylines. I say they should not abandon the stories, but they should keep carrying them out in the end credit scenes of other movies. So we could have Beast, Harry Styles, Black Knight, and Hercules facing an army of Kangs and Scorpions. All these storylines would be told after the other movies, and the end credit scenes would start getting longer and longer until we reach a 30-minute scene. after some random Spider-Man movie where we can have an in-game style portal scene of everything they've abandoned in a dramatic final battle where they all die or reach a satisfying resolution and never be seen again.
That's like a
Anyway, love the pod. That's Hank from Oklahoma.
that's like the small story they have at the end of a comic or whatever.
Right? Yeah, like the backup. Yeah.
Like a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that would be very fun.
Yeah. They should definitely do that.
Because these movies, they move on while we're not there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them, you go from one Avengers movie to the next and a bunch of years has passed, or, you know, one Captain America movie to the next, and relationships have evolved and we haven't seen them.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, I think that's a lot of fun.
I agree. They won't do that.
They won't, but
I
they
like
should,
the
shouldn't
idea.
they?
Yeah.
That'd be sort of like a one shot at the end of the
Yeah,
movie. That'd be
exactly.
great. Like, imagine if you were watching, you got to the end of anything,
Just anything at all.
anything in your life.
Eating
Church,
an apple.
church,
Yep.
eating an apple in church.
Yeah.
And then they played the post credits, and you're like, oh, that's a fun 30 seconds. And then it just kept going.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what's happening?
How is this gap happening? I don't
Huh?
understand.
Yeah, what is the deal?
With this church.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought I'd spaced out enough time, and I ate the apple, and then I finished the apple at the end of church. But there's a church post credits.
I'm watching this post credits sans apple. This is awful for me. This is the worst day of my life.
Just fire. I watched stuff who says Joker/Craven has been wondering who these movies are for and why they decided to use this IP on stories that have little to do with the original characters. Surely the fans don't want this, and people who aren't fans don't care about having his name slapped on. Yeah, that is true. I think they just they think they're making something that people actually want.
Yeah, and
Or they've got an idea better than an original idea.
Oh, yeah, that might be true. Yeah, because it's producers making these, not
Yeah.
necessarily writers. So they're like, oh, yeah, we could do this. We could.
What if Craven was a cool,
What if
good
Craven's
guy?
a cool, good guy?
And his vest was made of hemp.
And also, I think they're.
And he had
perhaps-
recyclable shoes.
That's right. You can get them wet and then just you hang them out to dry. Put them in the dryer and it's fine.
Chuck them back on.
Chuck them back on. It's fine. Then you've got warm shoes. I think they're quite correctly at this point realizing that at the very least, if you have something with some name recognition,
Yeah.
even if people are out there going, oh, Craven, are they making a Craven movie, blah, blah, people are still making videos about it. And,
True.
and if your interest is even vaguely comic book or superhero related, your YouTube algorithm will probably pop up. Hey, there's a Craven movie, and if you don't know a lot about Craven, they fill you in and they go, but this movie's going to suck. But there's enough clips there's enough clips of the trailer
I
in
guess
the
he
video.
fights
and you
a
go,
rhino man.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
Fights a rhino man, I
let's see
guess.
fights a rhino man, I guess.
Yeah, I think
I don't have a lot going on, so I guess I'll see the movie where he fights the rhino man, I guess.
what they should really do.
I better go and get my apple for the movie. I'll put it right here in my
Spice
pocket.
it out properly, though.
That's right.
I'd hate to finish this apple, and then I'm still in the movie.
Oh, well, if that happened, I'd get real mad. I think I'd turn into the Joker.
Or Craven.
I might turn into Craven. I turned into the Joker a few years ago. That worked out
But
pretty
then it
well.
turned out he was a big nerd in that second movie.
But
So
I-
I turned out of the Joker.
I think I'll turn out. And I think that was a good idea, turning out of the Joker. But now, to go into this movie and eat my apple very slowly and meticulously over the span of 2.5 to 3 hours.
This apple's so brown.
I was picturing Granny Smith.
It gets brown towards the end.
Oh, yeah, I guess. That guy would eat a Granny Smith.
Yeah, I love a Granny Smith.
Yeah, I know.
It's the best apple.
It's not, though, is it?
You suck. What I think they should do is with these characters, like even if you're like if you're a creative person or a producer or you're a director who've got
Or
your
you're
own
into
vision,
AI.
or into AI, and you look at the character like Craven or whatever, you go, what are the core elements of this? Which,
He's a nemesis for Spider-Man.
yeah, exactly.
So he should fight Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, what is the thing that
Yes.
makes this person compelling?
Yeah.
And then
he
you-
wants to fight Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then you build it out from there.
Yeah, right.
Whereas it feels like they're not doing that. I'm not saying, because you don't need to do a one-to-one.
Yeah.
I think Iron
But
Man
every single one has the possibility, as dwindling as it is,
That
that
he's
there
gonna
will be a
fight.
post-credit sequence at the end, and somebody will be like, well, you defeated him, but are you going to defeat me? And then they look up onto a shipping crate or whatever, and you see a red boot with webs on it. You go, ah! It's the British red boot. You know? From the Beano magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I was left out in the rain too long and now I'm alive.
It's just the boot, right?
It's just the boot. That's what
Oh
I'm saying.
my
Yeah.
God.
From the magazine The Beano.
And the rain made the boot come alive.
From magic. There
All
was
right.
magic in the rain.
Was the boot's magic or the rain's magic?
Don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
But I think Iron Man is a perfect example of that. Like Iron Man, the original Iron Man, changes so many things
Yes.
from the thing, but it gets the stuff that it needs to get right. It nails the suit. It nails like the attitude of Tony Stark. You know, like the
Well,
fact.
they tweaked the attitude.
Yeah,
a little
yeah. No,
bit.
he gets more attitude, but like the lesson that he learns.
Yes,
Like that, I think.
Great power comes great
Yeah,
responsibility.
they give him a robot instead of a butler. Like
Yeah,
they change stuff, but it's still there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
Oh.
nobody
No.
really learned that lesson.
That also, the advantage that Iron Man has also is that he has the coolest suit in
the
comic
world.
books and in the world, and Craven's got
a vest.
a vest sometimes.
It's got a lion on it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's made of hemp.
It's made of hemp. You can just chuck it in the dryer and then it's fine.
Warm.
It's warm.
We got another email there.
I've got a couple of more emails. Don't even worry
Could you
about
read
it.
one of those out for us?
I could actually. This is from Miller.
Miller?
Hi, James and Meso. 10-year listener, but it's my first time writing to you.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much for helping me get through long commutes on the metro here in Washington, D.C.
You're welcome.
I'm a big fan of the Dune novels and can't wait for Dune Messiah to come out next year, probably.
I doubt it.
The release date is right alongside the next Star Wars movie, so I'd love to know which movie you plan on watching first and which movie you think will win in the box office.
If it's Mandalorian Grogu, it would be Dune. I have way more interest in that.
You'd see that first. You'd see
Yeah,
Dune first. Yes,
definitely.
same. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, boy, they're really putting all their eggs in one basket with this.
Mandalorian versus Grogu.
Like, yeah, exactly. That's right.
No,
I mean,
I don't care about that at all.
no, do people want to see that on the big screen?
I don't
I
know.
think they do, but
Yeah.
I'd rather see a different thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And Dune's like dour and existential.
Sure.
It's amazing that it's as popular as it is.
Yeah.
But again, it's good.
There
And that's
you
the
go.
key element.
They got the
It's
key element.
good.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know? I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I will see both.
Yeah.
And I'd probably see both even if I didn't have to for this show.
Yeah, I mean, if they really are coming out in maybe the same week, generally for me it would be whatever is most convenient to do in order. I'm not
whatever. Yeah.
I'm not gonna make things inconvenient for myself, am I? I'm
why
not gonna
would you?
get up early to see one over the other. God.
Hell no.
No.
This is from Sunshine in the Funshine. Says, hello and welcome back to my two favourite blokes. It seems you two don't use much Aussie slang, but I'm delighted when it makes the occasional appearance. Is there a conscious choice or do you not use it much? Can you teach me a slang? Big fan of the Shilby apples. We use slang, I think.
Is
I don't know.
Shilby Apple's a real one or is it a fake one?
Seems like a fake one,
That
right?
feels like a fake one. See, that's the thing, and maybe we've discussed this before, but I think some Australian slang that is in common usage is real, evolved, and some of it was in like advertising campaigns for pies or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just initially we did it ironically, and now it's stuck.
She'll be right.
I mean,
That's
that's
one.
That's one. Yeah,
She'll be right.
she'll be right. 4 and 20 pies.
I unironically say, and I think most people do say, g'day, mate. Just
Sure,
for people.
yeah.
G'day, mate.
Hey, g'day, mate.
You all right?
Yeah.
G'day, mate.
Yeah.
What else do we do?
Bonza.
Bonza. You're a bonza bloke, Terry.
We all say that.
And a drunk.
That's right.
And a hooligan.
That's right. That's why we say you're bonza. No, it's not a real. I mean, it's not a conscious decision. I just think there's less slang than there used to be. We're not Melbourne, especially, is not a slang heavy.
I get told that I sound
town.
either really, really Australian or not very Australian. I don't know. We're not super. This is from people overseas. We're not. There is like a level of Australian accent like that's.
It doesn't really exist so much anymore.
No.
G'day, mate. How you going?
The further north, there's a few of those.
Hello.
Guys. They do say hello. Those larrikins do say hello, don't they?
I'm gonna punch you.
They do say that also.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Slang, you know?
It's yeah.
Not that shrimp on the barbie. It's not a real one.
That's not a real one.
Doesn't make any sense. We don't call them shrimps. We call them prawns.
We do, so that's true.
Mason, you got another email?
Here's one more email. This is from Jamie.
Jamie Kennedy?
No,
You had that prank show where you put on
it's not Jamie Kennedy.
blackface or whatever and spooked people in a mall. I don't know what he was doing.
Now he has a podcast, maybe?
Yeah.
Does he?
It's called I Was
you
in
thinking
Scream.
You're thinking of Dax Shepard.
No, they both have
they?
podcasts.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Hey guys, long time listener of the show from Ireland. So unless Jamie Kennedy is emailing from Ireland, I very much doubt it's
You
him.
could be.
Wanted to know your thoughts on Community and the making of the movie. Is the show something you enjoyed? Do you think the movie is a mistake and is going to ruin the show? Do you think the show is lightning in a bottle and it's hard to capture that again? Do you think the movie will live up to the show?
Sounds like
Hashtag
you-
6 seasons of a movie.
Sounds like you have a lot of opinions on the Community.
Yeah,
movie.
that's right.
Jamie from Kennedy from Ireland.
That's right.
I think it was good. And then the season where the guy was fired, seemingly for a good reason, actually.
That's
Justin Roiland, not Justin Roiland.
the other guy.
Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon, right.
That season
I don't really know anything about the behind the scenes of
I
any of
listened to
that.
a podcast with him recently on Neil Brennan.
Okay.
And he basically, like, of all the people who'd been Me Too'd, he was the one who actually handled it as well as you could.
Okay.
Like, genuinely
Which one, Neil
apologizing.
Brennan or Dan Harmon?
No, Dan Harmon. Like,
Okay.
genuinely apologizing, learning, and that.
Okay.
Again, not to excuse, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, then he ended up coming back. And I think that season is pretty good, but then they slowly start losing
Cast members? Right, yeah.
And then by the end, like, Troy's not there, Britta's not there, Pierce is dead. Because Chevy Chase sucks, obviously.
Yeah, there was a season where Chevy Chase's character was really, really mean and awful.
Yeah.
And that turned me off for a long time. I think I stopped watching for a while, but then I
Yeah.
brought it back. I mean, you can get it all now anyway. There's a community YouTube channel that
Yeah.
just plays random episodes.
It's
So if
on
you-
there all the time.
Yeah.
I did really. I remember when you introduced me, and I was like, "This is incredible."
On
I've
a
never-
DVD disc,
Yeah.
probably.
No, I think he was streamed or whatever. I
yeah,
can't
right.
remember whenever. But I was like, I'd never seen anything like this. Like, this was
Yeah.
amazing. But it never really found mainstream traction. It ended
Did
up
it
on
not?
no, not really. It ended up on some weird streaming app the last couple of
okay, right.
seasons. But yeah, they are doing the movie. I'm interested to see it, but I don't have super high hopes. But Dan Harmon is.
I mean, what do you do with Community?
When they're all out of Community?
Well, they're all out of Community, I guess. But
Jeff Winger's like 55 years old.
What do you like? It doesn't really feel like this. It's not a situation where you can just do 2 hours of sitcom stuff.
No.
But it also doesn't really feel like you can give them like a Blues Brothers narrative where they have to do a chase across America or anything like that. You know what I mean? It
exactly.
doesn't-
Well, you have to set it in the community.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Starburns, Leonard, who died,
All Abed,
Shang,
Troy,
Abed, Troy, Abed,
Britta.
Britta, Annie,
all the names.
all the names.
All the names. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
It had enough time to explore the characters and have them evolve and
Yes.
etc., which I think is a positive of any kind of like 22 episode thing. You get a chance to, you can give them filler episodes, and there was a bunch of novelty episodes about
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons and paintball and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of Britta,
The Ass Crack Bandit.
yeah. Oh, that's right. The character of Britta, especially, who starts out as kind of like the moral center of the show,
Yeah.
and she slowly disintegrates.
Yeah.
I always thought that was fun. Like, or it's like one of those people you meet, and they seem. It's felt like a kind of a natural evolution, because it was one of the, it's one of those characters who's supposed to be like the moral center of the, like, you stop having fun kind of
Yeah.
people, but then once you know them for long enough, you realize their life's a complete disaster.
Yeah.
She was one of those characters, which I quite liked. Yeah.
And that's who I am, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you live in a bin.
Thanks. Is that the show?
That's the whole show, folks.
Wow.
Thank you so much for listening. We absolutely appreciate it.
Happy to do it.
Tell you what. I'll tell you what.
What are you telling me? What are you telling the listeners?
Oh, thank you for telling your friends about the podcast.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how we get new listeners. And thank you for leaving a 5-star review in your podcast machine of choice. Because if you do so, James will find it. Oh, he'll find it. He'll
I'll
find
find
you. And then he'll read it out on the podcast.
That's right. This is from Free Fire, who says, "Good pod, fun hosts and solid reviews."
And solid hosts.
I agree. This one's
Fun
from,
reviews.
Yeah, this one's from Tommy Hollins, who says, 7 years. I've just realized that it's been 7 years since I first started listening, and since then I haven't missed a week. However, I look back and I think it's hilarious that I started listening to James and Meso because of 2016's Suicide Squad review.
Uh-oh.
Oh, so I get James and the Internet Historian mixed up because they're both Australians or something. We are not the same in many ways.
I've heard you're the same. In
No,
every way.
In many ways, we are different.
Okay.
Is that what's next, Mason?
Okay. Folks, if you want to get into contact with us, you can go to weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com if you want to
Whoa.
send in a letter or a clickbait or anything.
Oh my God, it would be a dream of
such as like
mine.
that. Also, you can go to the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group and the Weekly Planet podcast subreddit and Discords for fun civil chats about podcasts and pop culture. Thank you to Fidel and Maisie and
Yes.
Sarabi
Wow.
for moderating those forums and doing our TikToks and doing our clips channel and editing videos and doing all sorts of stuff.
What would we do without them?
I don't know.
Probably none of those things would happen
Probably
at all.
die in the gutter.
Yeah, and I'd close the Facebook group.
Okay, that'll yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to follow some people on the socials, you can first follow our friend Rob Collins.
Yes.
He's at Rob Collins on Twitter. He's at The Weekly Planet on Twitter. He edits this podcast and does all sorts of stuff, keeping you
yeah.
up to date on all things The Weekly Planet. You can follow myself on Twitter at Wikipedia Brown, and on Instagram, I'm Nick Maso. James is Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere. If you want to support the show, you go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies. Chuck in a buck or an amount you would not miss, or you can go to bigsandwich.co, sign up for $9 per month, bonus podcast, movie commentaries, early videos, video game let's plays, all sorts of stuff.
This week, we're looking at a very cool comic book. You know this, Mason. It's Marvel's Secret Wars, but the good one.
Oh, yeah, the good one. That's probably going to be mostly turned into Avengers Doomsday / Avengers Secret Wars. So
Some
that's a
of
bit
it
of
is,
fun.
definitely.
Some of it definitely is. Mm-hmm. Certainly the name.
Yeah, definitely is.
That's right. So that's fun. If you want a t-shirt, you go to tpublic.com, you search for The Weekly Planet, and thank you to The Root and The Basilisk and Rackham for all our musical themes. Next week, Transformers 1, and another thing you
Probably Hellboy, maybe.
said. Oh, boy, maybe. Give that a crack,
We'll
eh?
have to use a VPN or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Watch Hellboy 4.
That's right.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.